us is a spark of God, our Son. This is the monad, our true identity. The monad extends itself into the pineal gland of a human body to become the soul of an incarnated individual or personality. The task of the personality is to discover and re-identify with the soul and ultimately the monad. Location of the soul and monad in the 7 bodies of man. The monad resides in the upper reaches of the atmic body. It extends down through the buddhic and upper mental bodies to reside in the pineal gland of the person's physical brain. From here on, it is either the soul or the personality that directs the course of the person's life. Stages of the spiritual path. The personality's rediscovery of the soul and monad represents the long journey of evolution that will eventually lead everyone out of the material world into that of the spiritual. This takes place in stages. First, we identify with the material world, which involves the use of our 5 physical senses. Then comes the gradual dissatisfaction with the material world and results in the search for knowledge of a higher purpose. Finally, we begin to undergo a gradual expansion of consciousness, and identification with the spiritual over the material grows stronger. This is when we enter the process of initiation. What is initiation? A person makes a conscious decision to enter into spiritual life to expand his or her consciousness. As the person gains spiritual knowledge and wisdom, he or she applies them to everyday life. The initiation process is not a personality-driven activity, but is guided by the soul. The disciple gradually identifies away from the desires and obsessions of the lower physical self to the higher or spiritual self. He or she eventually acknowledges a higher purpose of life and works towards furthering that purpose. Note that initiation of any level does not grant particular knowledge or abilities. It is rather a recognition of a point in evolution and the knowledge that you have already gained. The result of initiation. All humanity will go through this vast evolutionary process. Some will take longer because they are more enamored with the physical world and choose to linger on Earth through more incarnations. Free will determines how fast one will progress on this evolutionary track. Others will break away quicker and pursue many lives of service and continue to search for more knowledge and meaning to existence. Evolution and process of initiation unifies the physical body with the soul and ultimately with the monad. This unification necessitates the conscious destruction of all that blocks this process. Initiation spans a long series of incarnations, each of which ends with physical death, and gives the soul a temporary liberation from the initiation process until the next incarnation. Preparation for initiation. The probationary path marks the period in life where a person clearly decides to set himself on the path of initiation. The soul begins to guide his life. During this time, a person identifies his weaknesses and takes steps to correct them. He follows a certain amount of right living and consciousness of what is right and wrong. This process may take several lifetimes. The first 4 initiations. After several lifetimes on the probationary path, the disciple approaches the first initiation. He is willing and eager to go through the inevitable suffering and sacrifices on both the physical and mental levels that lie ahead in successive lifetimes. The first initiation. During the first initiation, the initiate strives to attain a high degree of control over the personality ego and the demands of the physical body. Physical demands are no longer the first priority, and work involving service and spiritual improvement gradually takes precedence. The initiate continues to seek esoteric knowledge, the right application of this knowledge, and self-reflection. Self-reflection identifies shortcomings and the subsequent struggle to overcome them. Shortcomings may be such things as personality or ego issues, pride, selfishness, and other things which identify with the personality versus the soul. The initiate begins to consider service to his fellow beings through physical or mental actions. The second initiation. Many lives may pass before the initiate reaches the second initiation. During this initiation, the emotional body is brought under control. The initiate desires good for the whole. The willingness and longing to serve one's fellow human beings become stronger. Love of humanity and the desire to serve supersedes all other desires. Mental or thought capacity is brought under control. Thoughts are things and have lasting effects. Many light bearers today struggle to bring their emotional bodies under control as they strive to reach the third initiation, where they can be the most effective. Third initiation. The third initiation many times can be achieved during the same lifetime as the second. The soul infuses the personality more completely and takes over as the guiding light. A certain measure of control of the mental, physical, and emotional vehicles has been accomplished, and the initiate now has control over thoughts and mental energy. Development of psychic faculties often happens at this stage, since they can be safely used for service to humanity instead of for the self. These capabilities allow the initiate to perform more work according to the divine plan and for the master which oversees his development. The fourth initiation. The fourth initiation is the last while in physical incarnation on earth. It is termed the crucifixion because the soul disintegrates and the initiate directly reconnects with the monad rather than through the intermediary of the soul. It is usually a life of great suffering and sacrifice. This is the point where everything is renounced in favor of working within the divine will of the planetary logos to carry out the divine plan and purpose. After this initiation, physical reincarnation is no longer necessary, and the initiate continues his journey upon the path through the higher initiations. How does initiation apply today? This is a question that each person needs to answer for him or herself. Dissatisfaction with the materialism of the present world will likely lead you to seek and grow beyond the physical existence. The call to resolve the misery in human existence can really only be met by those who are on the path of initiation and who have succeeded in breaking free of physical constraints. There is a great need today for light bearers to awaken and proceed on this path of service, knowing full well the sacrifices and suffering it requires for the good of humanity. It is a path open to all who are willing to make these sacrifices and who feel the call to service.